So Undertaker, Kane, Kurt Angle, Triple H, The Rock, so many other people could have hit Stone Cold, but nope, it was Rikishi. Yeah, why the fuck not? I'm John Ritlin with a retro review of WWE Raw from October 9th, 2000. I did it for The Rock, I did it for the people, and the Angle died. The Angle was actually pretty damn good and a lot of intrigue and everything, and there was a lot of ways it could have gone with the storyline. Yes, it gave us eventual matches between Austin and Triple H. And a great 3 Stages of Hell match in No Way Out 2001. Would you like me to retro review all those 2001 WWE pay-per-views and the Invasion shows? Answers in the comments, please. Honestly, it should have worked, but it just didn't because the fact they revealed it to be Rikishi, it just didn't work at all. Recaps of Austin being suspended because he attacked Foley on SmackDown. Foley's out saying, hey, I'm on Stone Cold's side. He's got to trust me. I'm bringing somebody here from Stone Cold's past, a former champion, the Heartbreak Kid. It's Shawn Michaels, who was messed up to fuck at this point. It would take about a year for him to finally hit rock bottom, or actually another 6 months. I think it was just after Mania 17 where he had to be sent home. Because he was just that messed up. I mean, he did get clean and he got saved, and I always put that in quotations because if it works for him, it works for him. If it works for you guys, it works for you guys. I just never bought it's totally genuine with Shawn, if that makes any sense. I just think he used it to get a fresh coat of paint, and he's still the same jackass, but it is what it is. You know, maybe I'm just being too harsh on Shawn Michaels for all the politicking that he did for so many years. But at least he got clean, and he's a happy family man. And he doesn't know how to sell a goddamn punt to save his life. So, Foley references Mania 14. Hey, remember when Austin beat the shit out of you and then flipped you off and everything? You got revenge on your mind. You could have done it. And he says, I think I remember running down another human being. Fair. He would remember doing that. And then Foley shows, the footage of that. Nobody remembers 1996, the match that we had at Mind Games. Nobody seemed to care. And they go back and forth. Shawn knows who did it. And he blames The Rock. And commentary line, obviously he's fingering The Rock. Well then, it definitely was the Attitude Era at that point. Man, that was fingering that Johnson right there. Have fun on seeing that. We get Lita versus Jacqueline. Or as the Durban area used to say, Jaqueline. Thanks, Derb, if you happen to be watching this. Thank you for making it to where I can never remember, or I can never hear Jacqueline's name the correct way. I'm always going to hear Jaqueline. I have to struggle to say Jacqueline. Almost said it. Anyway, they had a hardcore match for the Women's Championship. While short, they featured a lot of weapons. A broom, it was a shopping cart full of weapons. It was brought by Jacqueline. Cookie sheet, a hair dryer, because why the fuck not? Because women, am I right? They use their hair dryers. We get a ladder, we get an extinguisher spot, cookie sheet to the head, 1, 2, 3. I'm glad they don't do headshots anymore, at least in a lot of promotions. And then we get Deborah wanting to find Commissioner Foley, talking to China, good luck with your wedding and everything. And then Austin's, brought up because Foley says, well, when Austin was hurt, he says, how was the wedding? Were you doing this? Maybe you were frustrated. You wanted him home more because he was on there. Foley basically accused Deborah of abusing Stone Cold. I'm just going to let that sit there for a second because if you reverse the roles, it would actually be correct because Austin, as great as he was a woman beater. We can't ignore that. We kind of can't ignore that. It wasn't just her. It was other ones. But anyway, he accused Deborah of abusing Stone Cold, but she says, how dare you? She stormed out. Meanwhile, that stuffed dog that that Foley got from a sick kid was spinning in the dryer, which I think was really kind of cool that he did that to honor that young girl. I think it was a young girl. Young kid in general. Anyway, Stephanie to Triple H. Benoit is a loose cannon. Boy, Stephanie was a prophet, for God's sakes. And then Linda McMahon talking to Commissioner Foley, keeping in one eye on Foley and one eye on the camera. Linda McMahon, the dumb bitch that she is, and you know why she's a dumb bitch, and I'm going to call her that. Because I don't fucking care at this point. She works in Trump's cabinet. Of course, she's a dumb bitch. So anyway, we get Raven versus Steve Blackman in a non-title match. It's regular rules, and they spent more time outside, hitting into the barricade and into the stairs than they spent in the ring. And then eventually, a big boot, 1, 2, 3. Steve Blackman wins, and then brief brawl afterwards, because that's what we want. We want this thing to continue. Raven was never understood by the WWE audience. I mean, his best match, he could have some good matches regardless of the hardcore stipulations. I think the most famous match that he had in WWE was when he was basically the crash test dummy for Big Show and Kane at Mania 17. I need to retro review that because it will be 20 years since that happened next year. Where's the fucking time go? So, Foley then finds a hotel registry under Linda's name and everything, and Linda has the charisma of a goddamn wet blanket. So, and she doesn't lie very good. So she's perfect for Trump's cabinet. Anyway, so Benoit and X-Pac versus Triple H and Jericho. Unlikely tag partners, and Benoit was zeroed in on one person and would not let up until they tapped out, but the referee wasn't there. You know what? Moving on. This was, it was alright. It was storyline based. Benoit had recently headbutted Stephanie, that is, and then cost Triple H a number one contenders match against Kurt Angle on SmackDown. So, cool. All right, we got some storyline here, and then X-Pac and Jericho were still, feuding. Triple H eventually got crotched on the ropes when Jericho accidentally tossed X-Pac into the ropes, and then Benoit topped him 1, 2, 3. Triple H begs Foley for a match with Benoit. He gets a No Mercy. Edge and Christian were also there, and then, they find out about, they were like talking about preparing for a 4-way tag match and that they couldn't have been the ones to run over Stone Cold. Also, remember, after, a couple weeks ago when they lost to the Hardys in that ladder match, they could not challenge for the tag titles until the Hardys lost the championships. Which leads us to, well, first, Stephanie saying that Triple H needs her at ringside. No, he doesn't. And then Hardys versus Lowdown, D'Lo and Chaz. Why wasn't Chaz a bigger star in wrestling? D'Lo was a pretty good mid-carder. Always felt like he could have been a little more. Had a pretty good feud with AJ Styles in TNA in 2003. Tag title match, quick-ish. Lita jerking Chaz into the ring post. And then two guys dressed up like Los Conquistadores. They're in gold outfits and everything. Clearly Edge and Christian are trying to cause Lowdown to win the tag titles, because then they get a shot at the tag titles. And Chaz hits a superplex. D'Lo hits the frog splash, and then Matt, and because Chaz is, they make Chaz be stupid, and he's distracting the referee, trying to get out of the ring. Matt hits the leg drop and ends up, having Jeff top D'Lo 1, 2, 3. And then Chaz smashes the tag title into one of the Hardys' faces. And we get Al Snow playing checkers with Foley. Did he run over Stone Cold? No, Foley, he didn't. That would require Al Snow to have done something interesting in his career that wasn't making him a comedy goof. Speaking of which, after Regal joins commentary, Al Snow dressed up as Grease, the musical, not the country Grease, which would be very odd, versus Test with Trish. Why was this match a thing? Why was Al Snow a thing? I mean, Al Snow was a good worker, but why? Why? Why was he ever made a champion in WWE? Outside of the hardcore division, because everybody was a hardcore champion. Raven was like a 27-time hardcore champion. So anyway, match was okay. Head to Test for 3, and Trish got kind of, knocked down, so the crowd was booing that. Of course, they were booing Al Snow, because Al Snow wasn't anything. It never was anything. It never will be anything. So, Eddie in China. She was upset at him. Where the fuck have you been? She didn't say fuck, but that would have been funny. Then we get Eddie in China versus Val and Steven Richards, a.k.a. Team Crackpot with the Goodfathers, the right gimmick for the wrong man. So, this was... Basically, the match barely got started, and we saw GTV. Who the fuck was behind GTV? It wasn't Goldust, because they kept just having GTV, because Goldust was Dustin Rhodes, and he was in WCW at this time. And Eddie suddenly, in the shower with two women. One was Victoria, another was a blonde. I have no idea. It was Godfather's former hose. And then Eddie chants, after it just had been proven that he cheated on his fiancée on TV, China. Great crowd. I miss Eddie. I miss Eddie tremendously. He wouldn't still be wrestling now. I don't think he would have wrestled much more than 5 years after his death, if that. I think he actually might only wrestle till WrestleMania 25, which would have only been a couple more years. But God, I miss Eddie. His death hit me so hard. 2-on-1 for a bit. Blue Thunder Bomb by Val pinned Eddie 1, 2, 3. Then China takes out Steven, but then gets triple teamed. Billy comes down. Billy Gunn has only changed his hair in the last 20 years. He's still in phenomenal shape. However he got to that's another story. But Foley to Crash and Scotty, hey, we're Riga, and then Billy calls Eddie out, comprende, esse, ha. I mean, to be fair, Eddie was a dick and did just cheat on China, so I'll let that slide. And then Eddie hits him with a dirty bottle that was on the ground. We didn't care about diseases in 2000 wrestling. And then we get Angle and Kane versus Rikishi and The Rock. Basically, Angle gets taken out by Kane because he had recently attacked, Kane inadvertently. And then Kane attacks Rikishi. Rock gets a huge pop. Later in the match, Kane tags Angle in, chokeslams him. And then Angle, even after hitting an Angle slam on Rikishi, Rock hits a rock bottom. Rikishi tops him 1, 2, 3. And then here's Foley. He points the finger at The Rock. I find The Rock not guilty because it wasn't you, it was him. And he points at Rikishi, and the crowd died. The crowd was like, what? The crowd was like, what? Why? Why was it? What? Why? He says, You hadn't even debuted on TV yet. What were you doing at Survivor Series 99? Pulling back the curtain and everything. He actually would debut on TV shortly after that. Then have a pretty good run in the 2000 Rumble, which a lot of people forget about that. A lot of people want to forget about the 2000 Rumble match because it wasn't very good. I did it for The Rock. I did it for those people, or you people, or people like you. Wait, that was Triple H and Booker T. The promo fell flat. Really fucking flat. Really, really goddamn flat. And he says, WWE's always been the great white hope. And Rock's just like, they're looking confused. Like, this stupid motherfucker, god fucking damn it, this is dying. This is dying horribly. Dying worse than Nancy and Dan. Moving on. This was not good. This was not a good end. I mean, yes, it would give us Rikishi and Austin in a brawl at No Mercy and Triple H versus Austin later, but this was just, it was flat. It was like, what? Why would Rikishi do this? It's not like the ratings fell off. It was just a stupid ending to Raw. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rethlin. I'll see you soon.